Hello, pickle people. Today is another episode of Is This a Pickleball Podcast? I'm your host, Matthew K. Pickleball. I am in a new place. I'm visiting my parents in my hometown in Arkansas, and it is not super YouTube friendly in this house, but we are making do because we have some stuff to talk about. But first, oh my, your background, Mr. Wilson, sure is YouTube friendly. How are you? Everyone, if you don't know, this is my co-host, Mr. Wilson, the better half. He's like, when you're looking at the Christmas tree, I'm the stump, sucking up all the water from the bucket, and he's the glory that is standing behind him. Mr. Wilson, how are you today?
Hey, Matt. I'm doing good. I'm glad we're still able to do this while you're on your little vacation. We're trying to fit at least one more podcast in before the Christmas holiday, right? So, try to get the most out of this tree before I have to put it away in the new year.
We've got to get that production value in. And
Yep.
yes, Wilson is right. We are trying hard to get some pods out. This might be, I don't know, the schedule is crazy, but if you want to see the next one, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give us a like. That we always like to see, throw out some holiday cheer. Likes are always appreciated. And then another reason to subscribe is we are always giving away stuff on the Matthew K. Pickleball YouTube channel. This is probably your last chance to grab some free cap coins from Pickleball Effect over in my SlyceSLYDRS avatar review. Make sure you check that out. And then I'm pretty sure the video is live as of the posting of this podcast, but in my Bread and Butter Loco review, we are giving away a free Loco. And as I said in that video, you have to be Loco if you don't want a free Loco. So make sure you check that one out. And then, yes, I am away from LA right now. Wilson is holding down the open play courts over in the LA area. And yes, if you all have noticed, been a little light on some videos because I also had a crazy dental issue that I had to rest up on. But since then, I have gotten my hands on a pre-production Honolulu J6CR. We are going to talk all about that today. People are DMing me, messaging me. They want to know, Wilson. Do you want to know, Wilson? Are you ready?
Yeah. I don't even know anything about it, so I'm excited to
Well,
hear about it.
you are going to find out. Make sure you stay tuned. But before we get too far along, I wanted to share a little from our channel's very first sponsor. Wilson, can you believe it? How many episodes, how many YouTube videos, we have our first sponsor. And so, are you ready?
Let's hear it.
Let's get to it. Today's episode is powered by IntuitSport, a performance-driven sports equipment brand dedicated to giving athletes everywhere access to elite-level gear without the elite-level price tag. IntuitSport is rapidly expanding its lineup across multiple sports with pickleball front and center, all with one mission: make high-quality, innovative equipment affordable for everyone. They believe the playing field should be level and the best gear shouldn't be reserved for the few. While pickleball is their current focus, IntuitSport product range is about to blow up and they're quickly becoming a company to watch. Check them out at IntuitSport.com and use promo code MatthewK to save 15% on any product. Thank you, IntuitSport, for powering today's episode. Also, be on the lookout because I'll be doing a giveaway for some Intuit gear over on Instagram. Definitely follow me over at Matthew K. Pickleball so you don't miss out. And now, before we talk J6CR, I know, Wilson, I know you've got a stack of paddles that you are just jonesing to tell me all about. Folks, when I had my little dental issue, I was getting paddles left and right. And Wilson, I already know there's a stack at my apartment waiting for us to get through. So I hope you're having a fun holiday break, working hard on the YouTube reviewing. But folks, Wilson is working hard. He is working hard. He's got a stack of paddles. And so I thought we'd just move right into it. What are we testing right now? This is presented by our friends over at SwiftNet. If you're hunting for a great pickleball net, they're the place to go. Promo code MatthewK should save you some money. And I was going to give you a little time, Wilson, gather your thoughts because I was testing something before I left. Before I
Mhm.
left LA, I had to get my last few reps in on the Bread and Butter Loco. And I think we talked last week or last time on the pod that paddle is in serious contention in my mind for top paddle of 2025. That video will probably come out in 2027, 2028. Maybe we'll just walk through it on the pod at some point. But there are a few more paddles I wanted to squeeze into my testing rotation to consider. But maybe I will be like my top favorite paddles that I've spent a lot of time with this year. But the Bread and Butter Loco is definitely up there it hits all the marks: performance, value, and just fun factor. And yeah, that's what I've been hitting with. That thing is really hard still to get a hold of. They started another thing of pre-orders, shipping January 2nd, so after Christmas and the December holidays. But I went to their website, and some of those are already sold out, which I think is just wild. But I don't know. It's a Gen 4 multi-density foam paddle floating core layout with a fiberglass carbon fiber layup. So it's got a ton of great stuff, ton of shape options. I believe they're now doing 2 colorways, $179.10 after promo code Matthew K. And that really has become kind of my point of comparison, I think, on foam paddles in particular, because what's super interesting, what I really appreciate about Bread and Butter is they had sent me a pre-production unit, like in it looked like the old Loco,
The black
and
and
that,
white.
yeah, with the white, all that look, and it played just like the production unit that they then sent me, and so that's just been really easy to like formulate my thoughts because they were just played the same. So I don't, yeah, that was just that's not always the case with review units I receive, and I just love the feel. I love of all the foam paddles, that one just is very consistent across the line, across the different ones I've hit. And, I think I prioritize ball feel over just about everything else, but then I get that great power boost. And so I talk a ton more about it in the Loco Wilson or the review. Wilson, if you haven't checked that out, you have a whole section where I'm talking about power players' thoughts, and that you're the power player. And so you had sent me a great little text with your thoughts, which thank you, Wilson. I appreciate that. That was very helpful.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think folks like to get, both ends of the spectrum. You're a power leaning tournament focused player. I'm what I call a professional rec player. And so getting both perspectives in a single video, I hope folks like that. But anyway, that is my testing other than the J6CR, which we'll be talking about in a bit. But I know
Yeah.
you've been hitting with stuff. So do you want to, maybe take the microphone, tell us what you've been hitting?
Yeah, sounds good. You want to just tell me which one you want me to go
I've got
with?
Beyond Measures Ronin next on the list.
Perfect. All right, so here you go. This is by the company Beyond Measure. They make great pickleball accessory, and this is one of their paddles that they came out with. This is the Ronin. It's a Gen 3 style construction. They have an elongated version. I don't think they have any other shapes at the moment. But this is a great all court paddle. I would say a great all court Gen 3 paddle. If you ever feel like you didn't want anything that's too poppy or powerful, this might be something you might want to go and try. Um, the grit is great. I love the control I had with this. The spin was there, but it didn't have the typical Gen 3 power that you would get. I would say this is probably even below the 11624 power paddles, and I think they were already considered on the lower end of power. But it's very controllable. It has a longer face than a elongated paddle that I'm used to because I can't really use my usual two-handed backhand like I would on a elongated loco or any other like a Perseus or something. This one's smaller. So, if you want a more bigger sweet spot, this is something you might want to think about too, because there's more surface than there are handles. But yeah, all in all, it's a great all court Gen 3 paddle, something to think about.
All right,
Eh,
all right. Yeah, and I did have another thing that makes it kind of interesting is it's only $117 after promo code Matthew
Nice.
K, and that includes free shipping. And a lot of paddle companies aren't doing that anymore, or at
Yeah.
least I just checked it right before we recorded, so it's free shipping out here to Arkansas. I don't know. I'm presuming that's everywhere. But I do think that's an interesting category for a Gen 3 paddle. The only
Yeah.
other all court or control leaning one I'm super familiar with that I put a lot of time on is the Pro XR Jolt paddle. And
Mm,
that's a Gen 3 paddle, but it's in a 13 millimeter build. And so
mm.
I don't know. I think it's an interesting category. For that one, I could still get a little bit of put away power. Would you say you've, with this paddle, did you notice any put away power if you did a hard
Yeah.
swing or had an overhead?
Um, it was it was more dense than the typical hollowy loud sound that I would get from other Gen 3 paddles. So you really have to swing at the ball in order to access that kind of power that you want. It doesn't have the pop that some of the
Right.
Gen 3 paddles have. And maybe that's a good thing because it's an all-core paddle. If you want to have everything more subdued and controlled, this is something you might want to look at. It's very definitely controllable. Hmm.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Very cool. Well, yeah, I think they're a cool company. I definitely think that's a cool first paddle to come out with. And I can confirm it is an actual Gen 3 build. They shared an X-ray with me, which I appreciate. But let's just chug along because I know you've had many paddles in your bag. I
Yeah.
was really curious about the REVRadiance because that paddle is from a company called Rev, which folks might know them for their Gen 3 paddle previous called the Zeus, which I think is a very solid paddle. But this one is 100% EPP core. And I tried to figure out the price on this one. It was a little confusing because they have like a sale going on right now for the holidays, but I believe after promo code Matthew K, it's around 150, $155. That's pretty competitive for a Gen 4. So yeah,
Mhm.
what's up? What was the Rev Radiance like? Was it
So the
radiant?
first thing the first thing you'll notice is that it's quite radiant. When I was playing with this at the local open play, everybody commented about this and said, "Is it legal?" Of course it is. Franklin has been doing that for a little while. It's not quite yellow and gold like this, but it's shiny. Franklin's C45s.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one is definitely a pretty paddle. Like the Ronin, it is an elongated paddle with I think more of a more surface, more paddle face than there is a handle, even though both of them state that they're 5.5 inch in length. They still feel a little shorter than what I'm typically used to. Again, like the Loco or like the Boomstick, or like the Les Cannon. Anyways, this is Gen 4 build. It is, I don't know if it's a floating core, but whether or not you know or not, it doesn't quite feel like that. It feels more like a single piece of foam. It has the pop, but it doesn't have that pocketing feel that floating cores usually have that I'm familiar with. So if you want the pop and a more rigid feeling paddle, this is something you might want to you could think about. It doesn't have the same power as like a Loco or a Boomstick would have, but those have a floating core. I don't know what kind of information you might know. Do you know if this is floating core or not?
So I couldn't get an X-ray, but I mean their site says 100% EPP core, so
Yeah,
that
no
means no
EVA, no
EVA.
nothing.
So I think we're looking at like the True Foam kind of build probably, or something like the original that Gen 4.5 from Enhanced
Mm,
Pickleball, I believe.
yeah.
It was kind of like that.
So
So yeah,
play similar to those paddles.
it does. All right, it's cool.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well,
Oh,
yeah, at 150.
also, sorry, quick note. The grit is like the Luz Infernos and Tornazo. This one's even more grittier than the Ronin. This is some gritty stuff right here. All right, sorry.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's I mean, there aren't. I think there are probably more like diving board, floating core, multi-density Gen 4 paddles than there are single density EPP builds. So if you like that feel, that's like, I mean, it is kind of a smaller category of paddles to choose from. So I think,
Hmm.
yeah, I think that, so you could check out the REVRadiance.
Yeah.
All right, I believe you have one more, and then I am
Yeah.
going to ask you which is your favorite of the bunch. So,
Okay.
and I know these are all like first impressions. We should make sure to
Hmm.
highlight that. But I believe you are testing out our first paddle from Element 6 E6 Pickleball, the Fuego, and that is a 14 millimeter paddle, and I believe it's a Gen 3 build.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
this is a elongated paddle from Element 6, E6. This is their Fuego. I think they are most known for their foam paddles, the Suitor, and there's another one that is kind of I'm blanking
that's,
out on. But yeah, the Suitor is their popular one.
yeah,
This Fuego is their Gen 3 version, a Gen 3 build. And one thing so this is a 14. I didn't get my hands on the 16. I am curious about the 16, but so like most 14 millimeter paddles, um, I felt like the sweet spot was kind of small. Um, but the pop it's definitely a very poppy paddle. What else did I notice? I noticed that the grit is really gritty. Um, and I think overall 14 millimeter Gen 3 paddles don't allow enough of that springboard effect.
uh,
Sorry, diving board effect because of the lack of thickness. I think because anytime I use a 16 versus a 14 millimeter of the same paddle, like the Franklin C45s, the green ones, I noticed that there was a lot more diving board effect on the 16, and then the 14s are usually a little more rigid. And of course, it's definitely more popular than a Gen 2 or Gen 1 14 millimeter, but it is definitely not as diving board as the 16. But yeah, this is great at the kitchen though. I did notice because it's a 14 millimeter. It's a lighter paddle, even though it's elongated. Hand paddles, they were great. It has the pop that most 14 millimeter paddles have. It's just I like most 14 millimeters. Sorry, I keep saying that. I struggle in the back in the baseline at the beginning of the point where I'm trying to drive the ball. This would definitely go really. I think some tungsten tape would go very far with this paddle. Um, I think that would help a lot. But all in all, this is a great paddle.
all right. I actually didn't know they had a 60 millimeter version, but I just
Mm.
looked and confirmed that they did. I think maybe
Yeah.
that one might have come out after the 14. But yeah, I mean, whenever I play with a thin build of a Gen 3, I just talked about the Pro XR Jolt, which is 13 millimeter. Yeah, I definitely, it doesn't have, the ball doesn't get to sink down into the core as much, so it doesn't get to have as much energy stored and then released. And so,
Yeah.
um, but you, but I mean, it's definitely you do get more activated power on those putaways and whatnot. And
Mhm.
so, but yeah, I definitely understand that that's a muted effect. But that would be nice for folks that want a Gen 3 paddle to then customize with weight, like
Yeah.
you were talking about. And then
Yeah.
that one's a great deal, $125 and 10 cents after promo code Matthew K. And Element 6 is definitely a company that we're going to cover more in the new year. We finally got some reviewed units, but I think all the foam paddles are on their hybrid shape. This you were testing out is the elongated,
Mm,
and I
yeah.
don't know if they've released any of their super popular foam paddles in that shape yet. So I know that will disappoint Mr. Wilson for
That's
sure.
all right. It's hybrid. It's not standard. It's okay.
Fair enough. Um, but all right, so I think those are all the paddles you were testing.
Mhm.
Was there a favorite among the bunch for you?
Uh, I would say it would have to be this Element 6 Fuego.
Okay.
It's a fun paddle. Also, I think this is the grittiest out of the bunch, out of the three. The Beyond Measure Ronin, the REVRadiance, and the Element 6 Fuego. This one, I even though it is a 14 millimeter and the other are 16, I was still able to shape the ball really well with this. It, you know, it's the grittiest out of the bunch. So yeah, this is definitely my favorite out of the three. Something to consider. Yeah.
Dang, we need to get you a 16 millimeter. You might main
Yeah,
that then. Holy smoke.
possibly.
Because you are a big fan of the Canon, so
Yeah, yeah. You'll see me flip flop between the Loco and the Canon.
yeah.
Those are my two current mains, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Before we talk J6CR, I think you are testing out one more little thing, an accessory, the new sliders from Slyce, these adjustable weights. Yeah. Well, give
Yeah.
us yeah.
Go ahead.
What's up? Tell us all about them.
Yeah, so these are a new item from the company Slyce. They make a bunch of pickleball accessories, and these are adjustable weights. You adjust by loosening these Allen bolts, and then you just slide them wherever you want. You can slide them up and down on the fly. I like them because now that I'm helping you test out paddles, um, I don't have to. It's much more, it's easier to move these than to peel off, weighted tape and stuff all the time. So this makes testing very convenient. And I can, within like, in between games, I can go from stock paddle to weighted paddle. They come in a 5 gram and 7.5 gram weights. So, and both weights are both sizes are, or both weights are the same price, so it's not too bad. Yeah, I'm really digging these, and they kind of make all the paddles you use look like a boomstick.
Well, I've been curious. You put it on the elongated loco, it looks like. I don't know.
Yeah,
So this is definitely the closest to the MOI tuning system that comes built into the boomstick.
yeah.
They're $27 after promo code Matthew K.
Mhm.
So what did you find? Did you make a
Oh,
budget boomstick with the loco? Like,
well,
what's the
if you,
story?
if you consider the price of the boomstick, and I mean, it's still going to be cheaper than a boomstick, but um, yeah, it definitely added power. This is their 5 gram. You'll notice it's relatively tiny. I think the 7.5 gram one is almost double in length. That one I tried first, and I felt like that was a little too heavy, even though I slid it all the way down to the lowest point of here. You can actually put it right here too if you want, but it's not as beneficial. I slid the 7.5 gram all the way down here, and I'm like, boy, this is still like a hammer. So these are the 5 grams that I'm testing out, and they are good. I like them. I still have my hand speed, yet I have a larger sweet spot, and the sound does change a little bit. It does remind me of the sound that boomsticks make. It definitely got louder. And my drives and everything, people were surprised, were pleasant. They were not pleasantly surprised, but I was pleasantly surprised. But yeah, they definitely have an effect. Like any other weight that you add to your paddle, it will make it more powerful. It will enlarge the sweet spot. But I just like the adjustability of these. Great idea from Slyce. I think if you are experimenting, um, these are something to try out. Because then, like, since I'm maining this paddle, eventually I am going to just use some tuning tape or tungsten tape, and I will just tape it on once I dial in what I like.
Did you get the feel that it had the boomstick to me compared to the loco has a more hollow feel?
Hmm.
Did adding weight to the Loco make it have a more of a hollow feel like the Boomstick, or
Not as hollow as the Boomstick or
got it?
even the Luz Inferno. It still had the same feel,
Okay.
but with more pop or
Okay.
more, and then like mishits were not as bad, of course, because there's weights.
Right.
So it feels better. But yeah, I don't think it changed the pitch or whatever of
Okay.
the paddle to boomstick levels. But
And
yeah, feels good.
each
Mhm.
side is 5 grams, right? For the, or it's
You
not
know,
total.
I was I am not sure. I
Holy smoke. Now we need to find this
I'm
out.
sorry. The website just says 5 gram and 7.5 grams.
It doesn't
Now
say
that
on the piece what the weight is.
No, it doesn't. It literally does not.
All right, folks, we are going to do some follow up. We're going to have to break out the kitchen scale.
But
But yeah,
I would have to assume I'm gonna have to assume that it's 5 gram total. Because if you
ooh,
do you think so? Is that too little? I feel like that's a little small.
most, I mean, the
Three
one weight,
gram.
the
Yeah.
basic pre-cut weight's 3 grams. Um, so we'll just weigh it and find out.
Yeah.
I don't have my kitchens. I don't have them with me. Wilson's testing them out, but we will make sure to do some follow up. I'm guessing it's individual, just because Slyce
Mm,
has a lot of their accessories are on the heavier side. Like they're really made for people that like are like serious. They
I
have like
see.
their but
That
some
makes
of their
sense.
handle weight is heavy, and then this I imagine they're. I'm betting it's 5 grams per one, and then 7.5 per each side,
That's
because
fifth.
I think you'll pair it with one of the Slyce handle weights, and so then
I
that
see.
is what I'm thinking. But you know what, folks? We'll find this out and we'll circle back. All right, folks. Thank you, Wilson. Thank you, Wilson, for doing all that testing. I know you're a busy man, so I appreciate that. But I also know folks are waiting for this. It's time to talk Honolulu J6CR. Wilson, what do you think of this? What do you think of this look? What do you think of Honolulu's new look?
I like the blue. That's the first thing I noticed. Was the original grip blue as well?
Yes, I tried to find
Wow.
one in my boxes that matched and I could not. Instead, I've really, speaking of Slyce, I'm really enjoying Slyce's overgrips. These are, I think, some sleeper overgrips. They have all the perforations, which I think gives you an even tighter grip. And I imagine people probably use that for breathability, but I feel it creates extra tack. And I'm really liking them. No one talks about their overgrips, but check those out. But anyway, yes, it comes with a nice blue overgrip. I think the font is definitely an improvement. I think all the
That is nice.
details. I like the new. I even like the new
Yeah.
font on the neckband.
Hmm.
And
But how does it play? What can
how
you
does it
tell
play?
us? What
Yeah, is
is
that what you want to
inside
know,
of that
Wilson?
paddle? I want to know what's inside the paddle.
All right. So I'm going to walk you through everything I can share. And right up front, so this is a pre production unit. And I'm going to talk about what's different. I'll kind of explain everything in a second. But first off, folks, if you don't know, the Honolulu J6CR is a paddle. It isn't even out, but it is getting some serious hype. It is a Gen 4 paddle. It's utilizing what Honolulu calls a dynamic power flex technology that creates what they describe is a pivoting core. All right. And so there has been a little bit of chatter, a little bit of discussion about this, but I've had a long conversation with the owner of Honolulu Pickleball, and I've gotten a lot of information. And then I got he was actually in the somewhere doing some tests on some stuff, and we couldn't hop on another call, but he answered a lot of questions via text. And I can share some. I can't share everything, but basically, I am going to give an overview of the tech, and then I am going to walk through my play testing of this paddle and what folks can expect from the paddles that are on pre-order. But basically, the dynamic power flex tech is involves multiple components, multiple pieces of technology within the paddle. Okay, first off, this is a full foam paddle, and it's kind of a little hard to classify it as but it is an in floating configuration, but there is a caveat, which I'm going to touch on in a second. And that second is right now because it's next in my notes. It's full foam floating configuration, but the EVA, which is usually on the outside of the EPP, they are configured differently than both a traditional diving board paddle and a traditional floating core paddle. What's happening with this is the J6CR is actually interlacing the EVA between two separate sections of EPP. You have a big centerpiece of EPP and then you have a smaller section over near the throat, and the EVA is interlacing around that. And so it's a floating core here, but then there's another piece of EPP, and the EVA is interlacing all of that. And so it's basically creating a split core. Like, I don't think I could call it it's a floating core, but it's a split floating core. And I'll try to post, I actually have permission to share a CT scan of one of the paddles. He actually did a whole scan of this one I have in my hands, but he's super swamped right now, so I don't know if I'll have that soon. But I have a scan of it, like a CT scan, like we're going full freaking house, like that's probably, I don't know if folks know that medical show, but we're going full medical school. And there's one more part that you'll see in that image, which is inside that bigger part, the main part of the split core. There is something really unique going on. It's got these channels inside of the core that create kind of a pocket for the ball. And the owner is calling them flexure grooves. And that is what I think is what's really unique about this paddle. And based off of my play testing, and don't forget, this is a pre-pro unit. I think that's what makes this paddle special. I know everything is informing that, how the paddle feels and plays, but I think it's this part up here. And be sure, follow me on Instagram. I'll try to get that scan put up there. But before I talk more about the actual like play testing and how this particular paddle feels, I thought I'd walk through what the units that are on pre-order right now, like some of the stats that the Honolulu is sharing. And basically they're aiming for an 8 to 8.2 ounce paddle. That's a great weight, I think, for an elongated paddle like this. They do have a kind of beefy range for the swing weight, though, 114 to 120. Yeah, it's a little bit of a wide range. So I don't know if in the comments you can request a lower or a higher. I definitely think this one is on the lower end of the swing weight. And then the twist weight is 6.5 to 6.8. That's what they're aiming for. And yeah, so it's the same shape that we've seen in the J6NF, the J6FC Plus, whopping 16.48 inches long, 7.52 inches wide. And you can get these now on pre-order, $175.50 after promo code MatthewK, which is cool because that's the same price as the NF and the FC Plus versions. So they're not upcharging the new tech, which I really appreciate. And yeah, so what does all that mean for performance? Is that what you want to know, Wilson?
Yeah.
Should I build up the suspense more? I do need to take a drink of water.
I just want to say it sounds like it's like a Frankenstein foam paddle, like a Frankenstein Gen 4 paddle. It sounds like it has a little bit of everything. It looks like it has like an internal throat hole filled with EPP. And then it also has a little bit of the carbon True Foam Wave with what was that tech called? The lines.
The
Um,
flexure grooves. So
yeah, that's what I think of.
right, I see what you're saying. The waves, but those
Yeah,
waves went through all the way through the core, though.
yeah, yeah. So,
I think, but then I think they also filled those, if I
mm,
remember right. But yeah,
but sounds like it has a little bit of everything. Maybe they
yeah,
got a little bit of the best of everything and then put it all into one paddle. So I'm excited to hear how it plays.
yes, I do know they've actually been working on this tech for a while now. I think this might have existed when they were doing the NFFC Plus. I'd have to check my notes, but they just went with those first. And so yeah, I could see how it seems like it's maybe like a lot of things thrown into the pot, but I really think the owner is looking at it as a single system with these two components and forming it. And I do think this part, the flexures, is where what I'm getting. I think that's the biggest thing, but that is interesting. I didn't think about this as a throat hole that's been filled. I think that is a good little
Analogy.
analogy. I do. I think that's pretty. I like that. I like that, Wilson. That's some.
All right,
But
I give you permission to use it.
it's been used. But yeah, first, so play testing. I should make it clear the unit I've gotten, and I got this right before I left LA. I haven't done a ton of playing on this, but I did like make sure I went out and hit with it because there's not a lot of pickleball out here where I'm at right now for the next couple of weeks. But I went and hit with this. I need to make it clear this is a pre-production unit. And that Honolulu, I know the changes that they're making to the ones that are on pre-order compared to this. They've asked me not to really explain that in a design build sense, but basically the changes are supposed to result in the ones that are going out to consumers to be more powerful. And so basically, I have a less powerful version than what is on pre-order right now. And that's kind of crazy because this paddle has plenty of power for me. And so I can really only imagine what a more powerful version is like. But this lower power version, to me, it sits right there with the production J6FC Plus and J6NF. I was testing those all at once. And so, yeah, I am very curious what the next iteration of this is going to play like. For me, this one feels lighter and quicker in the hands than the J6NF and the J6FC Plus, the production versions that I was also testing. But what I love about this new take, what I think is special about this paddle, is this core tech I've been talking about, these flexures. These flexure grooves, to me, they create kind of a pocket for the ball that really activates power on harder hits. And I know that sounds familiar, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But the owner, he believes these flexure grooves, they're supposed to soften the stiffness in certain areas as well as expand the sweet spot. And that totally makes sense to me. But how I thought it affected the paddle when I was playing with it, this paddle here, this pre-production J6CR, it plays and sounds like a Gen 3 paddle with that loud cracking sound and activated power on hard hits, and then great control, and then really nice ball feel in the short game. And so I think you probably know this, Wilson. Like I do lean, I love Gen 3 paddles because you get that traditional ball feel in your dinking game, in your drops, in your short game, but then you get power when you need it. And lots of pros like Gen 3 paddles, but the issue is they break. And I think if you can get that kind of feel from a paddle that's a Gen 4 paddle, presumably more durability, that I think is a magic recipe and is super special because this paddle, this doesn't feel like a foam paddle. And I know some of the foam paddles have been getting better, have been getting nice touch and feel, but nothing like honeycomb to me. Like we're not it hasn't gotten there yet. And so to me, the J6CR just has a really great touch and feel. It just feels great. And then I personally do need that extra power on putaways, on drives, on serves. And so, yeah, I'm very, very impressed. And I had one other thought. Oh, the thing about this compared to even some of Honolulu's foam paddles, Wilson, this thing, I'm kind of crowded in this room, but drops into the kitchen, super easy. And I don't think good touch. But once again, I could choose to do a drop, or I could do a drive or a serve all the way to the baseline. And you know, these little arms, they don't got a lot of power, and I was going to the end. And so nice. I think you're going to tear people up with this, Wilson, even the lesser powered pre-production version. And I just really hope that feel carries over into the production versions. What the changes that I've been told, makes me feel that that's going to be the case. And so time will tell. But yeah, if you want to be an early adopter, they're on pre-order, $175.50 after promo code MathUK. But the other thing I really wanted to highlight is I had just said a Gen 3 paddle, but with the durability of Gen 4. And Honolulu is standing behind that idea of durability because this paddle has their full 1-year warranty. Nice. And so gives me a lot of confidence. And then I've also found out, because I mentioned that CT scan, Honolulu actually has a CT scanner themselves. Their factory that they're using has one. And so they're going to be pulling paddles from different batches to confirm their paddle recipe is being executed correctly. And so that is a new level of QC that I think is great. And so Honolulu has a scanner. They can do pulls on their end. Their factory does. And they're also going to be doing some interesting stuff with that information, which we'll probably talk more about on the channel. But that's
pretty good on Honolulu to commit to the quality of their products and to invest in their own CT scanner. I mean, that's real commitment there. So good on them.
I mean, I think so. I think that is, people want the paddle that they hear reviewers talk about, or they want the paddle they fell in love with. And so I think having some points of additional quality control is super important. And so I'm excited that they're investing into that. And I also should point out, there will eventually be more shapes. I am very, very, very curious what the J2 is going to play like. I believe they're also doing the J3. I think I might be swinging back to the hybrid life. I think I dipped my toe into the elongated for probably the last 6 months. Yeah. And Wilson, I think I might be a hybrid player. I know I've been toying with the idea, but I think I don't play singles. I think I need that extra stability. But
fair.
Yeah, but this one, what I like about this is it's fast in the hands. It feels light, but I do think I got one on that lighter swing weight range. And so, but I think probably the one that is probably more my wheelhouse will be the hybrid. And also in our previous podcast, I talked about how there are going to be kind of 2 versions of the J6CR. So this is the one that's on pre-order right now is going to be the more powerful one. Eventually there will be another version that is poppier but with less power. But this is the dwelly more powerful version. But all right. So any other questions, Mr. Wilson? Because this is what I've got. The J6CR, wicked new look, some very cool tech. I'll throw that CT scan up on Instagram, but really it's 2 pieces of EPP right here, a smaller piece here, EVA intertwining, and then there are these grooves in the top section of the EPP, and that is like their new tech that they're bringing to the table. I think it's really smart. It is kind of I know there are a lot of words and phrases describing it, but like after I've sat down and like really digested all this information, and it's actually pretty simple. And so I think we need simple tech sometimes that are like just obvious, but does something. And once again, the impact of this, like these tweaks, is a very powerful, durable, presuming durable because it's a Gen 4 paddle, but that feels like a Gen 3 paddle. Like
Nice.
once again, I'm excited. I don't know. Any other final thoughts before we move on? Are you excited?
I am very excited. I'm excited for you to come back so I can give that paddle a twirl.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Wilson's excited. I'm excited. All right. I like it. And then I did use, I wanted to show off this color. So I used clear edge tape for the head, which
Nice.
I tried to leave a link for some clear edge tape, but I think this paddle, I really wish I had put a blue overgrip on this. I looked. But yeah, it is a clean look. All right, folks, that's the J6CR. Throw your questions down about that. If I can answer it, I will. But yeah, there aren't a lot of units floating around. So Honolulu, thank you for sharing this pre-production unit with us for us to sort of get a taste. And yes, once again, folks, this is going to be different than the production version. The production version is supposed to be more powerful than the version I was testing with, which once again will be very, very interesting because that thing already can rip. And so I'm excited. All right, Wilson, we are moving on. We're moving on to today's featured accessory, and I've got something interesting. It's the holidays. Did you see? You can't see my whole shirt. It says "Eat, Dink, and Be Merry." This was a gift from I believe my girlfriend gave me this a few Christmases ago before she resented pickleball because it took over my entire brain. But she also got my dad a matching sweatshirt, and we both wore it today. So yeah, I'm in the holiday spirit, and so I've got a little. Look at this little guy. This looks pretty neat, huh? Merry Christmas! This is a little snowman. This is the limited edition holiday power pack from our friends over at Bare Naked. And Bare Naked, folks, see the hat? Bare Naked, they make my favorite paddle cleaner. And right now they are selling a limited edition holiday pack with all of the goodies. Nice. You get the 8-ounce, my camera's not in the normal place. You get the 8-ounce pickleball paddle cleaner, and this is a big old bottle of their spray for cleaning your paddle, restoring the face. Then they give you one of the little portable ones, the 2-ounce bottle. All right, and this one I use a lot. You can take it right to the courts when you're trying to, make a good impression. You want to come in with your. I guess we should talk about like what the point of paddle cleaner is, and then I'll tell you more about what's in the box. But for me, we've talked about this on the channel before. It's a kind of controversial topic, but if you have a Kevlar or a polyester / titanium weave on your paddle, I recommend not using a paddle eraser. I recommend cleaning it with a microfiber cloth, and you can get a cleaning spray. You could do water, but I have found Bare Naked's spray, their formula, does a really good job at loosening the grime because basically everything the ball hits on the court, and out here in LA, we got courts that are filthy. Everything that hits those balls then hits hits the paddle, stuff gets stuck to it, then the plastic from the ball gets stuck to it. You know what happened to me? Yeah, with the J6CR. Someone, all right, it got rubbed off. Someone had written their name in red Sharpie, and that red got on my paddle. Yeah, what the heck? But
I've seen Sharpie marks. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so if you want to keep your paddle clean, you can spray it. And this is my favorite cleaner. I've tried some others, but Bare Naked just always has worked the best for me. And then, yeah, in particular, if you have a titanium or a Kevlar, if that paddle ever gets a loose thread or is damaged, it can get made worse with a paddle eraser. And so this is what I recommend. But it also does work on carbon fiber. And so in the gift box, you get 2 microfiber cloths. And then this isn't for cleaning paddles, but they also have other accessories, Bare Naked. They have this liquid chalk grip enhancer.
Oh, I like those. Yeah.
Yes. I've tried something similar from Pickleball Effect, but I like this one. I like how it has a little carabiner on it. You can just strap it to the bag. And for me, I like to lock my grip. And so that's going to be fun to check out. And then if you've got, we got a couple friends that could use this. Are you ready for this one, Wilson?
What do you got?
This is a freaking pickleball scorekeeper. And basically you get, you don't need that. Some of our friends do. I don't know. This might be a gag gift more than anything. I'm not sure. But if you really struggle to keep the score, if you're tired of asking your partner what the score is, if your partner's tired of telling you the score, you could get this for your partner. But this is just a little thing to put in your pocket, help you keep track of the score. And then they got a little keychain. Can't have too many keychains. But this is the thing that I thought was pretty funny.
A dice?
Oh no, I can't. This is the Pickleball Decision dice. So if you can't decide if it's in or out, the Bare Naked dice settles the debate. I thought that's funny. I ran into this in one of my last games before leaving LA. I called a ball out. I thought it was out. I did. I wasn't trying to hook nobody. I thought it was out. And I know you sometimes think the lines are a little small to my eyes, but I'm pretty sure it was out.
You call it as you see it.
It's call it as you see it. Yeah. I called it out, but he's like, that wasn't out. And then I just redid it because he was a nice guy. But I think that would be fun. Let's just roll the dice or die. And yeah, you can get all of this after promo code Matthew K, $36. And so
not bad.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good deal for everything you're getting. I'm not sure if it will arrive in time for Christmas, but you know what I was thinking? If this is still available because it's a limited run, give yourself a New Year's gift. You got some holiday money. Grandma sent you a check. Grab yourself some cleaning supplies to keep your paddles looking spiffy. And I really do like Bare Naked's products, so check them out. I do think they're really solid. And Wilson,
did you carry that on your carry-on? Oh
no, I did not. I couldn't, so they shipped it to Arkansas for me to review.
Smart.
So,
yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, well, my dad's gonna end up with the big bottle because I can't take it on the plane, so he's gonna have some really clean paddles, and I just gave him a lot of paddles, so he's gonna have some work. He's gonna put some those microfiber cloths are about to get used up, but that's really all I've got. But Mr. Wilson, we can't have a pod. We can't end a pod without getting better at pickleball. What is today's tip of the week? This is presented by our friends over at BodhiPickleball. If you're hunting for some good overgrips, if you're hunting for some pickleball accessories, go check them out. Make sure you use promo code Matthew K. And now, Mr. Wilson, make us better at pickleball.
So yeah, this the tip of the week is it originated from boxing, and I recently heard it at at our local open play. And I was like, oh, it's really applicable to pickleball. I mean, I guess that's why they said it while we were playing. But basically the saying is, if you reach, you lose. And the idea from boxing is that if you are overextending and you're like throwing a really long punch, you're basically exposing yourself to your opponent if you don't land that shot. So just like in pickleball, if you reach for a ball and you don't get a good shot off, if you don't get a good shot off the shot that you were reaching for, you expose the rest of the court or your body to your opponent to counteract. So one thing to keep in mind while you're playing is to not, move your body, move to the ball, get to the ball before you hit. Keep your shots nice and compact so that you allow yourself to reset and get back into your ready position for the next shot, and to not expose too much of your body. You want to keep your paddle around your body so that you can protect yourself and to counter, as opposed to, going, super wide left or right and getting body bagged. So remind yourself, remind your partner to not go too far and reach for the ball. Move your body, get to the ball before you hit. Because if you reach, you're more likely going to lose, because consistency. And yeah.
All right, folks. If you want to reach your pickleball goals of being as good as Wilson, don't be reaching. That's what I'm hearing right now. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty good. I think reaching and that's also a good way to fling a paddle into your partner's freaking ear. So I appreciate that. I recently encountered, it was less about reach. I was really trying to get some games in. It was some weird timing, so I couldn't sync up with our crew, and I was playing with some random folks, and I played with some folks. I remember it's clear like this kid had been playing, and it was with people that don't know me, and so they don't know like I'm awesome at pickleball. They just assume I'm a noob because they don't recognize me. And he was probably, I would guess 6 months into playing, but he was like excited and he was on my right and just going all the way into my side of the court, hitting shots. I'm like, oh my gosh. Wow. And so that reaching idea, move to the ball like you're saying, but also keep space. If you can't reach it and your partner can, get out of the way. Don't be bulldozing. But no, I remember when you're starting out, you think when you get that little bit of improvement, you're like, I got this. And you're like, the whole thing becomes, I felt like all those videos of the mixed doubles pros where the guy is just taking all the girls' shots. That's what I felt like. But it's like a really not good pickleball person taking all the shots. But anyway, but all right, Wilson, thank you for the tip of the week. I think that brings us to the end. Folks, I don't know if we'll have another pod before the new year, but Wilson, I want to express gratitude for you jumping in blind on this podcast journey with me. Without you, I think the YouTube channel really would have not, I didn't quite get the goal I wanted to with the subscribers because these last couple months, I got swamped with other stuff. I really wanted to hit 5,000. I thought I could do it a couple months ago, but without you, I think this would be a lot less fun thing to do. So really appreciate you being here. And folks, I think I can speak for Wilson and myself. We really appreciate you watching, commenting, liking, subscribing, hitting the bell notification, putting up with all of my rambles and the ums and the uhs. And when you are sending kind things down the comments, we do really appreciate that. We do. Anyway, as we wrap up, make sure you don't forget, we do have a couple giveaways left before the year wraps up. This is probably your last chance to win some cap coins from Pickleball Effect over in my SlycePick avatar review. And if I remember right, I've got multiple winners for that. So definitely check that out. You have a good shot. And then we will be giving one of the hard to get BreadnButterLOCO paddles away for free. Check out that review. If it's not live now, it's about to be live. I think it should be live when this podcast goes up. But yeah, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on Wilson and all of his great stuff. You don't miss out on the giveaways. And so you can just hang out with us. It's always appreciated. But most importantly, I hope you get to pickle soon. Wilson, do you hope these folks get to pickle soon?
I hope everybody gets a pickle soon and have a happy holiday.
All right. All right. Pickle, happy holidays, all the good stuff. And on top of that, just don't forget, if you do get to pickleball, don't forget, it's about having fun.